tough were a couple of those takeaways you got that didn't count the other night?
Yeah, I mean, huge momentum shift. You know, you get excited, right? Like I saw the pick from Jeremiah, watched him go to the house, and I was fired up. And look back, and you see the flag on the ground. So disappointing, but you know, I mean, refs got a hard job, man. And you know, some of those were bang bang, and they got to call what they see. So that was obviously disappointing. Proud of the way the kids responded, though. You know, we didn't quite do what we needed to do on that particular drive, responding from that penalty, but on the sideline they were great, making adjustments they were great. I got to do a better job of keeping my composure because that'll probably keep them settled down as well. But just proud of the kids the way they responded after a couple things, you know, didn't go our way for sure.
How tough is it to overcome that, which was essentially those 2 turnovers were a 21-point swing?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard. And that's why, like, I think the kids were great on the sideline because, you know, we pick 6, gets called back, they end up scoring. I didn't see one bit of doubt. I didn't see one bit of blame, one bit of, you know, oh, woe is me, this is happening. None of that on the sideline. Like, the guys were smiling. They're like, guys, we just gave them that whole thing. They can't do anything if we play our best, so we got to play better. There was no finger pointing. There was no blaming. It was just, we got to be better. Every single one of us has to do our job better, and I think that was really cool to witness on the sideline.
Sherrod Smith to step in for a guy that's played as many games as Mario McCoy and played the way that he did. How impressive was that? And then he certainly seems like a willing and able tackler as a quarterback too.
Yeah, you know, very impressive, but not surprising. He's been doing it for a long time in practice. He hasn't got as many reps in the game, obviously. You know, you got a guy like Marion played a lot of football in front of you, so it's hard to just come in and beat somebody out. But he was a guy that we had a lot of trust in, and we were never in a situation where, hey, if somebody goes down, what are we going to do? Because Sherrod's been playing really well, Demetrius Freeney's been playing really well, Franklin Johnson, but Sherrod's had the last probably best month out of those 3, and he's done it on a consistent basis. So once again, very impressive. Love the tackles he made, but not surprising to the staff that he stepped in and played the way he did.
On the fourth down plays, the 2 that were huge, what's the difference in the blocking schemes for them and what you do if they're in the shotgun 6 yards back versus if they're under center?
You know, like, we don't necessarily look at if somebody's under center or not. We do a good job of, and Coach Frazier kind of gets that piece of the game cut up for us, and he makes us some good cut ups, but we look at more structure, what's going on, those kind of things. How can we play the front? How can we play the blocks? Can we take calculated risks, I guess you'd say, on 4th and 1? Obviously, I did at San Diego State. It didn't work out the way we wanted to. And once again, we had to, I felt like, last Friday night, and they worked out. And that's not because of something we did. That's because the kids executed at a very, very high level. Go ahead.
Are the blocking, what they're doing, are the blocking different?
No,
Further back?
No, I think that honestly they wanted to get him in the shotgun and go empty just to spread people out and get him going downhill. Like I said, I think he was, you guys probably know better than me, but I think he was, excuse me, 13 for 15 on those short yardage plays throughout the year. So very, very high, low risk, high reward, I guess, for them.
Last time you guys played UNLV, Dan Mullen said you couldn't line up and play against them, so you had to blitz a lot, and that they took it as a sign of respect that you changed up your whole defense against them. Did you get a chuckle out of that, or have any reaction to that? Or?
Zero reaction. We won. We had to get ready for the next game. So just like we're gonna have to get ready for this one, and whatever we feel like is the best game plan, that's what we'll do this week. Whether it's rush 3 or bring everybody, but yeah, not a lot of reaction.
Erik, it's, you know, beginning of the 4th quarter, it's 4th and 1, and kind of guys' Mountain West Championships hopes are on the line, and you know, you guys get that stop against Bryson Barnes, but Roman Kaywood and Derek Danford Jr. were in the game at that moment. And how did those guys find themselves in that situation?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me to always tell because I got a lot going on, and I trust our assistant coaches so much. It's not like we have, hey, this guy has to be in at this time. Whoever, you know, we deem necessary or by injury or whatever. But Roman had to play a lot because of Max's disqualification. So Coach Frazier did a good job. He even switched him. He had practiced the stud position all week, moved him over to end, and he played really, really well. Derek Ganter, we just wanted to make our bigger nickel for the week, so he went in because it was 12 personnel. They had 2 tight ends in the game, so we had made him our bigger nickel throughout the week that we were going to use against heavier package, and he did a really good job all week of practice and then executed in the game as well.
It's a bit of paid off trusting those guys, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. You know, it was cool for Roman to see him make a play early on the fly sweep. Got a huge quarterback hit, and then for those guys to be in there, like, to be honest with you, Jay, 100% transparency. Like, I didn't exactly know who was in. Like, I'm trying to get us in the right call, calling timeout. Coach D gave me a timeout to use there, trying to make sure we got the right call. And then when I see Derek Ganter celebrating, I'm like, oh, here we go, right? So, and there's a part of me like that didn't even realize like Max was ejected from the game. You know, like personal foul, I'm thinking about, oh man, it's first down. And then I'm like, man, Roman's out there a lot. And they're like, yeah, Coach Max is done. I'm like, oh, that's right. So, like, our coaches just did a great job of getting personnel in, but very exciting for those guys to make plays.
We talk about Ty almost every single week, but he had a great comment after the game. He said the first thing he was going to do is not watch the UNLV-Nevada game. He was going to go watch film to see what mistakes he made so teams couldn't use it against him. It's obviously a big-time leadership mindset. Just how much have you seen him grow into that, leader mindset?
Yeah, I think Ty has learned that he needs to study the opponent, but he needs to know himself. And I think that came about probably last year, early in the season. Like, he got beat on a dig post. And from that minute, I'm like, bud, they're going to keep doing that just so we're both on the same page until you get off that 12-yard dig past the linebackers and shoot the post. And he did that. He got an interception. And from then on, he's like, I cannot let my own mistakes beat myself. So, like, he's shown a ton of maturity, even from the middle of last year until now. And he keeps growing every day, but he's shown a ton of maturity.
With the targeting calls, I mean, more of a big picture thing, not just that game. It's how hard does it continue to be to know what is targeting and what isn't? And, I mean, there was a couple that they didn't even review on their side. It looked like it could have been helmet to helmet. I mean, how do you continue to try to figure out what is and what isn't?
Yeah, the ones in the course of play, like, I totally understand if someone catches the football or someone leaves their feet and puts the crown of their helmet around it, like, that's a penalty. So the bang ones, while there's a run play going on, like, those are really hard to officiate if they're running between the tackles or something like that. The ones on the quarterback, it's getting tricky. And some of the information that we were given on the right way to play it, I think, is being called a little bit more. So I think, the proper course of action from us is, like, football back forever. When you're rushing the passer, you go mere hand until you get there to make a tackle on the quarterback because you're trying to get him to not throw the football. Now that's just not being allowed, because anytime you have your hand up high and you even fall into him, that's going to be a penalty. So, like, that's on me. Right now, what we have to do is we have to go in the strike zone and we have to tackle the quarterback, period, point blank. Like, we can't launch. We can't try to tomahawk the ball out anymore because you'll touch his head. You're just going to have to go tackle in the strike zone.
I don't think anybody thought that play was targeting early on. What was just the message to the guys just after that play happened?
Yeah, the message to the guys was the same thing. It's like, guys, it's hard for me to protect you right now. So we're going to have to go in the strike zone and tackle. Like, we're just going to have to wrap up. Like I said, no more mere hand, no more high. Like, usually you try to lead with your hands if you can't stop your momentum so the crown of your helmet doesn't go into them. But that's being called roughing the passer as well. So we're just going to have to wrap up and tackle the quarterback.
You look at Chinander from UNLV. What do you think he does best, and what is your greatest challenge to try to stop him?
Yeah, I think he's a really twitchy guy, and I think he's probably the best when he's making plays happen. He certainly can drop back and throw shots downfield. He can certainly run that offense, but when plays break down, that's when he gets really, really explosive. Does a great job of extending downfield with his eyes up, and he can throw the ball, or he can tuck that thing and make about 10 people miss. So he's very, very dangerous as the play gets extended.
When you look at your last game against UNLV, what did you guys do so effectively, especially in the second half?
Well, I think the guys just like we talked about, they did a good job. They took it upon themselves to keep him in the pocket. I think in the first half he had an explosive quarterback run. I remember on an empty. They brought the tight end back and ran quarterback zone rim with him, which my fault, didn't show the guys that play ever. So hopefully we got that one corrected. And then he got out of the pocket a couple more times. It was very, very explosive. So I think they just did a better job of keeping him in the pocket. And then, they showed a couple, different formations, some tough ones that they got a long play on. I can't remember if that was first half or second half. I think it was right before the end of the first half. They showed that flop quads deal. We did not get lined up. So once again, that's on me, not getting those guys ready for that.
Was there a lot of adjustments you made at halftime?
Not necessarily adjustments, just showing the guys like some of the tougher formations that they have shown up in the first half and making sure that we're aligned in every call. So I don't know if that's an adjustment or not, but just making sure that some of those things that I hadn't shown them in that week that we could execute and get aligned to.
The coaching carousel in college football today, these days, is crazy. Do you have head coaching aspirations, Chins? Would you put your name in the hat for some of these jobs? How do you assess that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like when you're young, like I thought I was going to be like the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. You know what I mean? Like it was just going to happen, and it didn't. Nobody's called me yet. But like I got a great freaking job. Like, I want to be at Boise State. If there's an opportunity to be a head coach at some point in time, you'd have to take a look at it, certainly. And for me, it's not necessarily about just I want to be a head coach. It had to be the right fit. Just like Coach Danielson's the right fit for Boise State. So if that ever happened, have to take a look at it. But I don't worry about that one bit. I've been around a lot of guys that are worried about the next job. I love the job I have, and I want to do this one really good. And that's all I worry about.
I think he played like 3 defensive snaps in that game, and he made one of the biggest plays of the game. Maybe the answer is the same as before, I don't know. But in terms of personnel and who got into what situation, but I don't know how cool is it that he came in and executed on that big sack and running forward?
Well, it was really cool because just like you said, like Coach Frazier did a great job of getting those guys in the right position, I guess you'd say. And like a true passing down, Bo has shown like he's as good as anybody we have on the team. And he was running out, and I remember, like I saw it, and I remember somebody said, "Hey, you sure Bull's going in?" And he's like, "Yep, he's going to be good right here." Boom, sack. So kudos to Coach Frazier for that trust in him and the way he's coached him up, and awesome rep by Bo to go in there and just operate as a true freshman in a big time moment.
I said Spence about this too, but Owen Phillips, again, kind of late in the third quarter in that game, he got caught moving laterally while Bryson Barnes moving vertically and took one, pretty good. And then 2 plays later, he comes back and makes a touchdown saving tackle, and then 2 plays after that, he sets up that 4th and short. How big were those plays by Bowen?
Yeah, I mean, huge. Bowen took one on the chin. A lot of people have taken one on the chin from Bryson Barnes. But I think that's a great lesson for him that, when we target low and we tackle the way we're supposed to, now obviously that's hit or miss, but when we tackle the way we're supposed to, he goes down. We talked about targeting very low on him, and you saw the one, Bo grabbed the cleat and he went down. But I think that's what you have to do. Bryson Barnes is a tough kid that runs, leaned over the football, and he's not going to make you miss. He wants to run people over, so you got to go target low on that guy, and he learned his lesson real quick. And I'm glad he did because he made 2 big plays.
One more.
I think in the first half of the UNLV game last time, UNLV had like 4 or 5 false start penalties in the first half alone. As the defensive coordinator, what goes through your mind when something like that happens, and how much does that truly tip, maybe a drive or a series potentially in your favor?
Yeah, I mean, anytime, just like when we commit penalties, we've shown the willingness, I guess you'd say, to give up scores. When the offense commits penalties, it decreases their chance to score greatly, and it puts me in a favorable position to, like, you guys know football, like 1st and 10, like you're 50-50 down, right? You get them to 2nd and long, the math changes. You can go to 2nd and extra long, the math really changes, right? Or you can go from 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 9, that math changes quick. So every time an offense gets a penalty, that very highly shifts the favor to the defensive side. Just like if we commit a penalty, that's like, you know, like we committed 2 penalties on that drive, 30 yards. Like, you know, if you told every offense in the country, you're getting the ball to 25, whoop, just kidding, you're getting it at the minus 45, everybody would be like, sign me up for that, right? So those penalty yards are huge on both sides of the football.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.